What's up, YouTube Revolution? ZombfectedGaming 349 at your fingertips. So today I'll be reviewing The Last of Us Season 1 Episode 7 titled Left Behind. This review is definitely a couple weeks late. I'm so sorry that this one has to come out so late though. But anyways, you know how it works. I'll try to explain everything from this episode the fastest way possible. The episode starts off after Joel was badly injured and Ellie is trying her best to heal him. Joel tells Ellie to leave him and go back to Tommy's, and Ellie leaves to find antibiotics for Joel, and we cut to a flashback. This flashback starts way back when Ellie was in Fedra school and she is jogging in gym with other students. But Ellie's Walkman gets stolen from a girl named Bethany, and Ellie fights her, and after it cuts to Ellie in detention. This detention Ellie is in with some really nice Fedra officer who is giving her advice on telling her to behave herself and eventually become a Fedra officer and tell off people similar to Bethany. After we cut to Ellie reading the Starlight comic, and after she goes to bed and her best friend Riley shows up and wakes her up, and Ellie was surprised but not happy with Riley because she hasn't been seen in a few weeks. Riley also tells Ellie that she joined the Fireflies faction, which are the freedom fighters trying to free the quarantine zones from Fedra. After Riley invites Ellie to go with her to go have a nice hangout night. Riley and Ellie go into this place where they find a dead guy who overdosed on alcohol and pills. Ellie and Riley take the guy's alcohol and the dead guy's body falls through the floor, and Ellie and Riley laugh about it. And Ellie and Riley drink a bit of the alcohol. After Ellie and Riley parkour across some rooftops and make it to the abandoned mall. Ellie doesn't want to go into the mall because Fedra made the place off limits, but Ellie and Riley go in anyways. After Riley turns on the power to the mall, and Ellie is actually shocked. Ellie gets to see an escalator for the first time in her life and calls it electric stairs. Ellie also plays with the escalator and tries to walk up it the opposite way, like how teenagers play with the escalators at the malls. After Riley tells Ellie to close her eyes, and when Ellie opens her eyes, she is surprised with a merry-go-round, and Ellie and Riley ride on it. A nice difference is in the show, Riley gets to ride the merry-go-round, whereas in the game, Riley barely got to ride it because it stopped the second she tried to get on. After, Ellie and Riley go to a photo booth to take pictures just like in the game, and it's exactly like the game, but difference is, Ellie and Riley get the pictures printed this time. In the game, Ellie breaks the photo booth and doesn't get the pictures.
I think we broke it.
But after that, Ellie and Riley go to the arcade to play some Mortal Kombat, which was really cool. But awesome part is, the arcade machine is actually working, whereas in the game it's not working, and Ellie has to close her eyes and pretend to play the game. But meanwhile, when Ellie and Riley is playing Mortal Kombat, one of the infected in the mall somewhere is slowly waking up. But after when Ellie and Riley are done playing Mortal Kombat, Riley shows Ellie a new version of the pun book, no pun intended, Volume 2. One of the iconic jokes were, what did the triangle say to the circle? You're pointless. After Ellie noticed Riley was making grenades, and Ellie didn't like that because it's for killing Fedra and possibly civilian casualties could happen. So Ellie walks away from Riley and says goodbye, but Ellie changes her mind and goes back to Riley and hears screaming sounds. Ellie is all concerned and thinks it's Riley screaming, but it's just some Halloween decoration screaming. Ellie and Riley sit down and talk for a little bit because Riley is going to be leaving Boston, and Ellie is very upset by this. But after Riley puts on the same song from the game and they put on these masks, Ellie puts on a wolf mask and Riley puts on a clown mask and start dancing to the song. After Ellie and Riley take off the mask and Ellie kisses Riley like in the game, and this was the confirmation that Ellie is a lesbian. But after Ellie and Riley get ambushed by an infected called the Stalker, just like in the game, but it's not a horde coming after them, it's just one stalker. Ellie fights the Stalker and struggles, and Riley helps Ellie, and Ellie stabs it in the head. But after Riley says to Ellie, look at your arm, she was definitely bitten. And Riley was bitten on the hand, and Ellie goes on a rampage of breaking tons of glass like in the game. Ellie goes and sits with Riley, and Riley gives these options: take the easy way out, or be all poetic and lose our minds together. What that exactly means is turn into an infected and be together that way. But after, it cuts back to present day and Ellie has the antibiotics for Joel and stitches Joel up, and that's the end of the episode. A lot of things in this episode was very similar to the Left Behind DLC in the game, but small change-ups which were pretty good, but one major change that I didn't like. The major change I didn't like was the lack of infected once again, like I said in my previous reviews of this show. There was only one infected in this episode, which was the stalker that Ellie and Riley fought, whereas in the game they were getting chased by a ton of infected runners. And I think the result of this with a lack of infected is because the creators of the show confirmed that this isn't a zombie show at all. Troy Baker, the voice actor to Joel in the game, said this is not a zombie show. So I guess we shouldn't expect tons of zombies like how in The Walking Dead where there's tons of walkers in some of the episodes. The Walking Dead has actually done this too sometimes, where there's a lack of walkers sometimes, but The Last of Us is having way less infected by far. The Last of Us games has so much more infected, and hopefully Season 2 adds way more hordes of infected because the potential for the dangers of infected has kind of been thrown out the window. But my overall score for this episode is going to be an 8.8 out of 10 since the storytelling in this episode was pretty good and very faithful to the moments of the game, but with the lack of infected is a bit of a shame, but it doesn't ruin everything entirely. But that's all for this review of HBO's The Last of Us Episode 7 Left Behind. I'll be back again soon for the Episode 8 review, which was last weekend's episode, and this weekend's episode is Episode 9, the Season 1 finale. But anyways, consider subscribing to the channel for more of these reviews and much more awesome gaming content, and ding that bell icon really hard so I can always stay within fast reach of your fingertips when new uploads arrive. ZombfectedGaming 349 over and out. Hello.